Hello students. Okay, the last video on scale drawing is basically we have to do some measuring. So we're given an actual drawing and we're given the scale and we're going to find out how long this side is in the actual, the actual length of that rather than the scale length. Now there's one little problem with all of this. I got this diagram from a textbook and my diagram is not the same size as the original. So in fact, this scale is correct for the original diagram, but it's not really correct for this diagram. On my monitor at the moment, it's actually larger. So keep that in mind that if you actually rescale the map, then the scale, in fact, is no longer accurate. But in this case, we'll assume that it is accurate and we'll work with the scale of 1:1000. Okay, so the question is, what is the length of the longest boundary of lot 7, which is that length just there, with a scale of 1:1000. So pretty much all we have to do is measure that in millimeters, multiply by 1,000 to get the actual length, and we can leave it in millimeters or convert to meters. The question doesn't say which units they want it in. Anyhow, let's get out our ruler and do some measuring. And it looks like that is near enough to 60 millimeters is our measured length on the diagram. So 60 millimeters. We've got to multiply that by 1,000 to get the actual length. And 60 by 1,000, I think I can do that one in my head. And the actual length is 60,000 millimeters. And I think that's how they would actually leave it on the map. If you want to get a more useful unit, say if you want to put a fence there or something, then you'd probably convert it into meters, divide by 1,000, and that length is 60 meters. Again, this diagram here is not the original one, so it's not the same size, so that scale should only apply to the original diagram. Okay, this is an engineering drawing of an aircraft. The scale factor, or the scale, is 1:250. What is the actual length of the aircraft? So same idea as before. By the way, I can't get you to do one of these because you don't have access to the ruler, and this is just on your computer. So I'll be doing all of these questions. So let's get our ruler out. Might as well do it from the very tip of the aircraft. Oh, there we go. That worked out nicely. Exactly 140 millimeters. So let's get rid of that. So it's going to be 140 millimeters is the scale length times 250 to get the actual length. I think I will use my calculator for this one. 140 times 250. 140 times 250 equals 35,000 millimeters long. I'll put the units on that. So we can leave it at that, 35,000 millimeters. And again, a more practical way of talking about it. If someone said, how long is the aircraft? You wouldn't say that. You divide that by 1,000 and say that's 35 meters long. Okay, the last one. Sometimes we actually have drawings where the drawing is larger than the actual object. So notice what happens when you do that. Instead of the one being first and the scale being second, it's the other way around. So in this case, the scale being 6:1 means that the actual creature, spider, I should say, the actual spider is only 1/6 as large as that. So once again, we go ahead and start by measuring. In fact, I'm going to turn my ruler approximately correctly to start with. Just a bit easier to do that first. And the actual length is, if I straighten it up, looks like about 88 millimeters. Okay, we can drop that into the bin. So the scale length, I shouldn't say the actual length, the scale length is 88 millimeters, but that is 6 times larger than the actual spider, so I have to divide that by 6. And 88 divides 6. Let's do that on our calculator. 88 divides 6. And 14.66, probably the nearest millimeter is going to be accurate enough, so let's call that one 15 millimeters. So going from your scale drawing to working out actual lengths is pretty easy. Just get out your ruler, measure the scale length that you're interested in, and then just multiply, or in this case, divide by the scale factor.